Welcome to today's What Will Move the Market show. I'm your host Prem. It's Tuesday, September 16th, 2025, and here is everything you need to know as the markets open for today. U.S. markets delivered a stellar performance on Monday, with both the S&P 500 and Nasdaq Composite closing at fresh record highs ahead of this week's pivotal Federal Reserve meeting. The S&P 500 gained 0.47% to close at 6,615.28, marking its 25th record close of the year. The Nasdaq surged 0.94% to 22,348.75, powered by the Magnificent Seven stocks, with Tesla jumping 7% after CEO Elon Musk purchased $1 billion worth of company stock. However, the Dow Jones Industrial Average slipped 0.59%, declining 273 points to 45,828, as industrials faced selling pressure. Nvidia recovered from earlier losses despite China announcing it would continue investigating the chip giant for potential antitrust violations. The stellar performance came as U.S. China trade talks in Madrid showed progress, with Treasury Secretary Scott Bessent indicating a framework agreement on TikTok ownership was within reach. Indian-American depository receipts showed mixed overnight trading as global uncertainty ahead of the Fed decision weighed on sentiment. Infosys ADRs declined 0.24% to $16.92, giving back some recent gains despite last week's massive buyback announcement. Wipro ADRs also fell 0.36% to $2.76. Banking ADRs were similarly subdued, with HDFC Bank gaining just 0.03% to $35.08, while ICICI Bank ADRs remained relatively flat. The muted performance suggests Indian IT and banking stocks may face some consolidation pressure as investors position defensively ahead of the Fed's historic rate decision expected later today. Asian markets opened Tuesday's session with cautious optimism, though trading volumes remained light as investors brace for the Fed's policy announcement. Japan's Nikkei 225 gained 0.88% to 44,768, supported by defense and technology stocks. Hong Kong's Hang Seng rose 0.48% to 26,516, while Shanghai Composite added 0.09%. However, Gift Nifty September futures are trading with a modest negative bias, down 13.5 points, or 0.05%, at 25,167, suggesting a flat to slightly lower opening for Indian markets. This follows Monday's session where the Nifty snapped its 8-day winning streak, closing down 45 points at 25,069. The subdued Gift Nifty levels reflect profit-taking after the recent rally and cautious positioning ahead of the Fed decision. The Federal Reserve's two-day policy meeting beginning today dominates global financial markets, with a 96% probability now priced in for a 25 basis point rate cut tomorrow. This would mark the Fed's first rate reduction since December 2024 and comes amid growing concerns about labor market softening despite persistent inflation pressures from tariffs. In a significant geopolitical development, China has escalated its investigation into Nvidia for alleged antitrust violations, adding to U.S. China trade tensions despite ongoing negotiations in Madrid. Meanwhile, President Trump's nominee Stephen Mirren was confirmed to the Federal Reserve Board on Monday evening, positioning him to participate in this week's crucial rate decision. Oil markets remain volatile, with Brent crude holding above $67 per barrel after weekend strikes on Russian energy infrastructure raised supply concerns. India's wholesale price inflation rose to 0.52% in August, hitting a 4-month high as announced yesterday by the Commerce Ministry. The UPTICK was primarily driven by higher food and manufacturing prices, with food inflation turning positive at 0.21% after months of deflation. Despite the increase, the WPI remains well within manageable levels and hasn't significantly impacted market sentiment. Foreign institutional investor selling continues unabated with over 10,700 crore rupees net outflows in September, though domestic institutions have absorbed this pressure with robust buying of 25,000 crore rupees. Market participants will also focus on any commentary from Reserve Bank of India officials regarding the global monetary policy divergence and its impact on rupee stability, which closed 6 paise stronger at 88.21 yesterday. The next RBI Monetary Policy Committee meeting is scheduled for September 29 to October 1. For Nifty 50, immediate support lies at 25,000 levels, with the critical support zone extending down to 24,900. The index is now testing the upper end of its recent consolidation range, with resistance at 25,150, followed by 25,200. A decisive break below 25,000 could trigger deeper correction toward 24,850. Bank Nifty shows relative strength with support at 54,800, and the index could test 55,000 on any positive Fed outcome. The India VIX remains subdued at 10.12, indicating low fear levels, but expect volatility to spike around the Fed announcement. Key technical trigger will be how the Nifty holds the 25,000 psychological level on any early weakness. Precious metals continue their record-breaking rally ahead of the Fed decision. Gold futures hit fresh all-time highs near $3,686 per ounce, with Indian gold prices at 1,09,222 rupees per 10 grams. Silver remains near 14-year peaks at $42.64, benefiting from both safe haven demand and robust industrial consumption from solar and electric vehicle sectors. Crude oil gained over 1% on Monday to $63.30 per barrel, supported by Russian supply disruptions and Middle East tensions. Base metals showed mixed performance with aluminum and copper gaining on Fed rate cut optimism, while zinc remained flat. With the Fed decision looming large, today's strategy should focus on capital preservation rather than aggressive risk-taking. Avoid fresh index positions until post-Fed clarity emerges, but consider defensive plays in sectors like FMCG and pharma that typically benefit from rate cuts. Gold and silver ETFs remain attractive on any dips, given the strong technical and fundamental backdrop. For equity traders, watch the 25,000 support on Nifty closely. Any decisive break could trigger stop-loss selling and provide better entry opportunities. Given the binary nature of today's Fed outcome, maintain lighter position sizes and be prepared for heightened volatility in the evening session as markets react to Powell's press conference. Stay tuned for this evening's special Fed decision wrap, where we'll break down Powell's historic announcement and its immediate impact on Indian markets. Send us your questions about sector rotation strategies and defensive positioning. We're here to help you navigate these crucial market moving hours.